Watching this transmission, you are tuned in to Trends in the Housing Market episode, I think 225 or 24. It is I, Mike Martins. Welcome to Trends in the Housing Market, where we are connecting the dots in the housing and connecting them to all sorts of different dark and gray areas. We've been kind of almost taking it from obscure angles. I've been looking at some of the older shows we put up the last couple of years. It's just absolutely phenomenal where the housing market has gone, especially in the Commonwealth. The United States of America, I could honestly say right now, it is now going through what Canada was going through about. Parts of the United States of America is at Vancouver, Toronto, Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland level, which is California, King County, Washington State, King County, and Oregon now. So there are places in America that do have that Vancouver, Auckland, Toronto, Sydney, Melbourne, all kinds of overpriced housing. We got the comments rolling in. We got Ralphie Co. New Zealand, Ralphie in the house. We got, what's his name here? We got Mataski. Okay, so he's commenting here. Now, he doesn't have to tell me what country he's in. He's probably in Australia or in Canada. Now, listen to what he says here in the comments. Went to look at a end unit townhome. So this is something that's located at the end of someone's, or at the end of the block somewhere, right? Hold on, guys. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi here. I'm getting a very weak Wi-Fi connection here. Not sure why. So I'm going to just close all my stuff here real quick. So, okay. Went to look at an end unit townhome up near Newmarket. Okay, so that's in Canada. Listed for $699,000 yesterday. Sold. It was listed yesterday. Ayer. And sold already for $770,000. So what is that? $71,000 over asking? I mean, who's buying these with the amount of COVID shutdowns, people having a tough time getting back to work? What is going on? Because for the average wage, not the minimum wage, don't get this misconception, I'm talking about minimum, average wage earners from $52,000 to $89,000, this would take about 16 to 18 years to save enough money to put a down payment on that much money. It will take forever. Because why? We need to eat. And the price of food hasn't gone down lately. Last time I checked. The price of anything hasn't gone down lately. Last time I checked.
It's a seller's market with more demand for homes than are up for sale.
We got this thing here. Guys, I'm really sorry. Let me shut this thing. I got an article here I really want to read for you guys. But every 2 minutes, every 2 minutes,
initially,
it keeps
experts thought
popping up
COVID-19
this thing, and I keep pausing it. I keep lowering the volume. It keeps refreshing itself to make itself known. But sorry about that, guys. And that's about Seattle, by the way. That's about Washington State, right? And I'm going to talk to you guys about that. NK saying, nice wig, Mike. Makes you look like George Michael. Thank you. Gary Medita's in the house. We got, who else we got here? Cedric. Comments rolling in. And then Matsky saying, small driveway too, Mike, with sidewalk, only room for one parking spot on the driveway. So there you go. There you go. Now, the problem is we've been massaged for way too long. We've been massaged way too long, believing that this should be the average price. Why is the average price for a home in some city areas, now city surrounding, we're talking about secondary, tri-cities, quads, like I'm talking 200 miles away, still out of reach? Well, it's happening in America now. I could tell you that straight up. It's going to take several years for it to catch up to where Canada and the Canada, Australia, UK, and New Zealand is at right now. But it's going to take a few years. Okay, we got NK in the house. We got V Rocket in the house. We got Reuven in the King Reuven in the house, who's gonna come and see me on Friday. Yeah, guys, anytime anybody wants to see me, I'm at 1925 Quilchina Avenue in downtown Merritt. I'm very accessible, a very accessible YouTuber. A lot of people come in, just hang out, talk a little bit, and people get on, just talk a bit. People on the way to the coast, people on the way to wherever they're off to. And I had people a few weeks ago drive all the way from Edmonton, Alberta to come and visit me. And I'm like, you came here just to visit me? They're like, yeah. Spent a bit of time and then took another route home. I hope they enjoyed the drive. So we got CBC News is laying off workers due to loss of revenue. Of course. CBC News has been pressuring so hard against the social media to shut down okay, look. I'm so heavily suppressed on YouTube, it's absolutely phenomenal. This channel has gained has lost more subscribers than it's gained. And people I had an analytic guy look at my channel a few weeks ago. He took a look at it and says, this is bizarre. Like, they removed this many subscribers for you on one day. They removed so many X of millions of views a couple of times from you. I'm not understanding why this is happening. So we're not even going to get down to that because there's no point. The point is we're here right now. We're here together. Yeah, CBC is fake news. It's all garbage. Yes, Lower Roller Scratcher, you heard the Fed will stop printing money later this holiday season. Guys, listen, I'm really sorry about Steve Saretsky. He was supposed to come on the show. He messaged me late last night saying he couldn't make the show, Steve Saretsky. That's okay, guys. No big deal. Nobody panic. No one freak out. All right, let's open up a plug here real quick. And here you go, guys. Let's go to article scan. I'm getting really terrible internet tonight, guys. It looks like I just went offline, if anyone could see me. Yeah, all these layoffs and housing is still going strong, and that's coming from my man, Owen. So here it is, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. I think I'm still at 12,800 subs. Let's get this thing to 13,000 subs, hopefully by the end of this year. Guys, don't forget, next week, we got Steven Van Meter on the show coming in. On this Mike in the Night this Saturday. Steven Van Meter, the Bond King, hashtag Bond King. Don't forget to check it out. I'm going to give you guys a link to that. And trends in the housing market next week, episode 227. Randy Patrick's coming in to give us a little insight on what's happening in the southeast part of the United States. He lives in the state of Florida, and Canadians are going to want to subscribe to him, especially because he is a former Canadian living in the United States of America. And he's got some very interesting views. So that's that. Those are the upcoming guests we're working that are coming on. We're working on other guests to come on the show. So here it is. Steven Van Meter. I'm going to give you a link to that show. This Mike in the Night. The Bond King. Guys, make sure you prepare your questions in time for them, please. Make sure you I don't know why I can't even post. I'm having a tough. I don't know what the heck's happening. Here it is. I'm having some weirdness happening on the computer tonight, guys. And don't forget to join next week's Trends in the Housing Market with Randy Patrick. And Randy Patrick, again, is a big deal when it comes to discussing the housing markets, Ponzi scheme, bubbles, artificial inflations, all kinds of stuff happening. So we're going to pick his brain next Trends in the Housing Market. And guys, don't forget to pick up the all-over shirt, the Mike Martin's all-over shirt. I designed this for you guys today. I hope you guys like it. I'm not really an artistic guy. I really don't know anything about art, but I made an all-over, and the back looks pretty cool. This is something Low Roller Scratcher could wear around town. And there it is there. I'm going to leave a link for that if you guys want to pick up the all-over shirt. When it comes in, I'll be wearing it on the show. I ordered 2 of them in. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, guys. If you're on Facebook, here I am. You could send me messages here. I think I'm at 115. I want to get to 120,000. I could get to 120,000 followers on Facebook faster than I would ever on friggin' YouTube. And here it is, YouTube, Mike Martin's official, if you guys want to go ahead and send me show tips on here. All right, guys, let's get down to business, because that's what you came for, and I'm going to give you what you came for. We got V-Rocket in the house, Little Roller Scratcher. Cy Sharp. Steven Sewell.
It's a seller's market with more demand for homes
says,
that are up for sale.
Pictures
in
of
Seattle,
Mike and his
just
wife on my
behind
body.
Phoenix, Arizona,
Maybe
home
not.
prices have risen faster
it's just a
than any other
collage-y thing.
city
It's pretty
across
cool,
the country.
actually. I'm gonna
Initially,
put one
experts
on
thought COVID-19
Mike
would
and the
tank
night.
the
Anyways,
housing
okay,
market,
let's get the trends
but
in the
that's not the
housing market,
case.
guys.
It's
Again,
really
I apologize in
remarkably
advance.
stable and almost a
Steven
shining light
Zaretsky
in a
did
very, very
cancel
unique
last
economy.
night. He said
Less
he had
people are
something come
listing
up,
homes in Washington.
very important,
Windermere's
but
chief
he wants
economist
to,
Matthew Gardner says
reschedule the
in
date.
September in King
So,
County,
I'm sorry about that,
27%
guys.
less homes
Wasn't done
were on the
intentionally.
market than the
But
same
things
time
happen.
last year.
People have
And it's
lives,
even
right?
more in Snohomish County with a decrease of 59%.
Very limited supply, but very significant demand.
And Boeing's announcement that
Okay,
787
here we go.
production is moving to South Carolina
Greater
may
Vancouver
cause some people
detached
to
real
move out
estate
of
prices
Everett looking for
rise
new
while
jobs.
condos slip
But
lower.
Gardner
Remember,
argues
condos are
it
cheaper
might not be a
inventory,
bad thing for
and
the housing
condos
market.
will
900
slip
jobs are going to
into
be
the
lost.
lower
How
brackets
does
because
that
of FOMO.
impact
Why?
the housing
I'll
market
explain
in
why.
Snohomish
Because a
County?
lot of people
You've
that
got
jumped on the
almost one in
property
three
ladder
homes,
into the condo
in
markets,
Snohomish
especially
County has
because it
more
was the
than
last
50,
and the
it's
cheapest,
50%
most
equity.
affordable unit.
So they're not going to
But
walk away from that.
realistically, in
They
my
will
opinion,
sell.
it is the most
But I would argue
expensive
there's going to
unit
be more,
to buy
more than
because you
enough
got
demand
Mickey Mouse strata,
from
you got
buyers
all these
to suck
Mickey
up
Mouse
that excess of
insurances,
supply.
you got all this
High
Mickey
prices in
Mouse.
King County
So
and the
that's a
fact that
big
people
issue.
are working from
So
home
yeah,
has
condos will
caused more
slip,
people to move
and
out of
condos
Seattle
will
and up to
because
places
people will
like
start chopping
Snohomish
prices on
County,
their
for
condos to
example.
unload
We
them,
do see more
especially
homes
the
coming
FOMO
online,
buyers.
which,
So
quite frankly, we need.
detached real estate
I
prices
just
will
don't see
go
it
up
having a compression,
while
a
condos
compressing
slip
effect,
lower.
rather,
And again, that's
in
the
terms of
FOMO
home
boys,
prices.
right? Let's see if
Gardner
they give us
says
a
the
little bit
rise
of
in home prices isn't
a graph
sustainable.
here.
He
We can see
predicts
here it
we'll
is here.
start to see that
So
rise
detached, composite,
slowing.
and
It's just
condo
not
apartments. So
happening yet.
there's your
In Everett.
detached right there.
Kayla Lafferty, King 5
And there's
News.
your condo apartments, and they're starting to slip in price. They are dipping here, slightly dipping, but yeah, they're wow. Detached is at 1.5.
Mark Joyce, good
I can't wait to
evening.
get
Yes,
some
that
of
is
these
right. So
American
many
guests on
people
the
in our
show so they
state
can
are
see what the heck
looking
is
at this
happening. They're gonna
announcement as
freak out.
good news.
1.5
and it impacts
1.5
things like
million
the
what,
real
pesos?
estate industry, libraries,
For
and
a
youth sports. So let's
detached,
get into the details
tear-down
of
house
this. So
built
now that
around
we
World War
know
II?
and have heard from the governor, libraries in phase
Mexico.
2 counties and above can reopen at 25%
minute.
capacity. Movie theaters in about
audio in the
85%
background.
of the state, they can reopen.
Okay, I'm gonna
and
close this
realtors,
crap.
you can start hosting.
Forget it. I got craps talking. Can't hear you, Mike. CBC Ghost. Too many voices. Yeah, guys, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, it's hard to check the comments. Anyways, okay, so let's go back. I don't know why that thing keeps popping up, that crap. I'm really sorry about that, guys. It's in the background. It keeps just randomly playing it. I wanted to read the article. I'll just memorize what the article said, and we'll move on here. All right.
I love China.
All right. Yeah, sorry about the lady talking, guys. Yeah, guys, it's out. It's off.
See ya.
Yeah, something's playing in the background. Yeah, sorry about that, guy. Wow, everybody's been warning me for a good while now. Sorry about that, guys. That thing is it's just stupidity. You push pause, you even lower the volume. Mike Martins, CBC playing in the background, can't hear you. Yes, got it fixed. Got it fixed. I got my volume on. I got it cranked so I could hear my
Japan.
It's not ad blocker, guys. It's part of the article I was reading, right? So, okay, so Vancouver Composite benchmark price. Here you go, guys. There it is. So, 1.57 million for detached composite benchmark in Greater Vancouver. Greater, not Vancouver, Greater Vancouver. And then there's your composite, and then there's your condos. Holy crap. 685,000. Here's your composite benchmark price change. So you saw this dip in 2019. But when COVID kicked in 2020, look at this. January 2020, prices started to go up. Kind of makes you wonder, eh? Things that make you go, Greater Vancouver composite sales versus listing. There it is there. So you're seeing an oversupply in the market right now. Look at the supply on the market. Holy crap, that's huge. And then look at what's actually selling. So always gauge the on the market and what's actually selling, guys, please. All right, let's go back. There's another article I wanted to thing. Sorry about the background noise. Okay, here we go. Greater Vancouver. We got that. Okay, Toronto construction crane index with almost a third of all projects. There you go, guys. Here, let me. Here we go. Here we go.
I love China. I love China. I love China.
Right there. Toronto tops construction crane index with almost a third of all projects. Okay, so look at this. 124 cranes in Toronto. Now, the whole West Coast is littered with cranes. Why? 49 in Seattle, 27 in Portland, 24 in San Francisco, and 41 in Los Angeles. These cities here have a major mass exodus happening where everyone's moving east for affordability issues. Why do they keep building in these cities? Because they're getting taken over by foreign money. You want to argue it? Go ahead. I'll argue it with you. You got a bit in Chicago for locals. You got a little bit in Denver for people fleeing. Las Vegas are people fleeing from California. New York 12 and Boston 12, right? So Toronto tops construction crane index. So there's more cranes in Toronto, 124, than almost a third of all the projects here. That tells you. Now, in Toronto, again, the average benchmark price for a detached home in Toronto and the Greater Toronto area is just it's over $1 million. So who's buying these homes? I don't know any Canadians that make a lot of Canadians that make over $200,000-300,000 a year take home. I don't know. So I don't even know what to say. Let's get somebody in. Let me see if I can get Steve. Steve the plumber calls me all the time, but when I need him to come on the show, he's never around. He's always busy. I want to see if I can get him on the show about this. Toronto tops construction crane index with almost a third of all projects. I don't think his phone is on. The condos in Toronto look vacant. Mikey, called them a chronicle about this Canada and about his post, his condo post. Guys, this is true. The McChronicle is actually straight on with this. McChronicle doesn't have his no one has their Skype on tonight, actually. So yeah. After they robbed the public accounts of the poop hole country they came from, most migrants to Quebec were former mid-class public servants in their country. They all drive with house. So here it is, guys, right here. Toronto tops construction crane index with almost a third of all projects. This is an extremely big deal. This is a very, very, very big deal, guys. This is, this just goes to show where things are headed. So if it's like $1 million to buy a home, you have 124 cranes. That means they're building 124 project condos. Well, this is in Q3 of 2020. And the whole West Coast has got cranes all over the West Coast. Yep. It just goes to show where things are headed. Toronto detached real estate prices rise while condos stay lower. You know what? Let's get somebody from Toronto here. Damn, this show is based out of Toronto. Oh, there's Owen saying, Mike, you have some used video playing in the background. No one can hear you. I got people on Skype always watching my back, guys. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. It's just, things just go on their own and, you know. Actually, you know what? Let me call Owen. Let's get Owen. I haven't had Owen on the show in ages, man. Let's see what's going on in his neck of the woods. Nobody's picking up. Okay. NK says, Mike, I worked at the building on Yonge and Jarvis by Chinese developer. Ask me anything you need. So we got Papa Piss saying, I held it down while you were missing, Real Kevin Thompson, by now. So, Real Kevin Thompson's been coming on the show for ages. And he basically is just kind of... see if I can get anyone from Canada. Holy crap. I can't get anyone from Canada on the show. Oh, Owen's saying he's a little bit tired. Gary, maybe pick up. Come on, Gary, pick up.
Hello.
Finally, someone picks up their phone. Gary, Quebec Stash.
How are you, man?
Good, good. It's so good to have you on. Listen, buddy.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Gary, you there, buddy? Gary? Gary, can you hear me?
Hello?
Gary. Wait, let me try calling him back. Man, I'm having some bad luck here with Skype. I never really have this much bad luck with Skype. I don't know what the heck is going on. Let me go to my audio. Let me go to settings. Audio, video, microphone settings. I think it's the speakers. Default communication. Well, I think my speakers are okay. I think, yeah, microphone's working. All right, so Gary can't hear us. So, this is a tough show. This is a tough one to grind here. I was supposed to have Steve Suretsky on the show, and he bailed. He bailed not last minute. He told me last night, so I had to change things around on the show. All right, let's see if Gary picks up now. Now I'm wondering if my Skype is down. Oh, well. Can't get anyone on the show. Is that CBC Ghost thing still going on? All right, let's move on. So here it is. I found this for you guys. This is actually a pretty good one. North Bay tops among affordable housing markets. North Bay, Ontario. I think that's quite a ways from Toronto. I think North Bay is really up there. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you guys because this is actually important if you're living in Canada. We're going to head off to the United States soon, and you're going to want to see what I have to say about the United States. Jay Smith is saying, compare house prices from Florida to Vancouver. No, we can't do that because people get really upset, and someone emailed me, said that it was terrible. You're making people in Canada feel really bad that they have to work their whole life just to put a down payment on a home in Vancouver. And they don't know their neighbors, and everybody hates each other. So I don't know. I don't want to get into that tonight. Facebook Messenger. The problem with Facebook Messenger that I have is that I think there was a problem with it. It was conflicting with my microphone through OBS, so it made it really, really, really hard to talk. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to see if I could get someone to pick up their phones and make sure it's not my Skype that's not like on the fritz, which I don't think it is. I don't think it's the Skype. So let me just go back to my general here, audio. I don't know why this is happening. I'm having a bad night tonight, guys. Bad night, but it's okay. No, it's right. Microphone's right. It is right. Huh. Interesting. All right. Okay, North Bay home prices, $286,000. That's what the median house price should be in Canada because the income required is $39,893, and you're probably thinking, Mike, that's not a lot of money. There's people that make more than that. Yeah, but people get taxed more. People get taxed right off their paychecks, 50%. So it's very hard. So you $39,000 take home. You need to make about, I would say, $68,000 gross to take home 39. So you need to make some money still. Sudbury Homes, $297,000. You need a median income of $33,000. Windsor, $383,000. And $383,521. Income required 52 large. Then home prices, Niagara Falls went up $493,000, and income required $66,000. Home prices in Peterborough, $505,000. You need an income of $69,000. Barrie, Ontario, home prices are $570,000. Income required $73,654. So now let's look at Vancouver average. Toronto detached average home price is $1.4 million. You're gonna need, according to what this is saying here, 70, 80, 90, 110, 20, 30, 130, 130, 40, 50, $166,000 a year to be able to the income required for $1.4 million, roughly. So no one is near anywhere it should be, realistically. And this is the problem. And this is what we've been screaming about on this show for the longest time. So here it is, guys. So affordable places left in Canada for the Canadians to move to. Barrie is already becoming out of reach. $73,654 a year. It's getting out of reach already. Affordable places in Canada, in Ontario, still North Bay, Sudbury, Windsor, Niagara, and Peterborough, and the rest is becoming out of reach. Even a successful doctor would have a tough time. Toronto home sales surged 42% to set new September record, and I'm trying to get someone from Toronto on the phone to find out what the heck is going on. Let's see if Gary could pick up here. I've been trying to call him, so hopefully he can pick up and tell us what the heck before I move off to the United States of America. So we're not getting an answer with Gary. I hope he's okay. Yeah, we got Spencer saying in the comments that Peterborough's getting so expensive. That's a big deal. Because again, Peterborough and these areas on the outer parts of Toronto were designed, or they're super suburbs because they're way out there. And it was designed for, retirees, people that, wanted to be away from the city and retire to a small, quiet area. Those areas are being bought up from people from Toronto. Yeah, Spencer Chapman is saying FOMO is strong in Toronto. That's correct. And we're going to see if we get our friend from Arizona on the show. He's telling me he's got to get the heck out of Phoenix right now because he's having a tough time with so many Californians moving in. He's like freaking out. So Spencer saying Peterborough doesn't have any major industry. That's right. They're just retirement hubs for back in the day. That's all they were designed for. They weren't designed for industry or tech or anything. It was just so people could get out of the city, retire, and die in peace, right? All right, so there it is right there. So there it is. Everything's tied to the sickness. So now I want you guys, I got a really, really disgusting email from somebody the other day. Disgusting email. Okay? Somebody told me basically that I don't know what's happening in the Seattle housing market. I don't understand what's happening in King County. That I shouldn't be talking about Seattle on my show because I don't know. One, I'll tell you something straight up. I've been to Seattle quite a few times because when I lived in Vancouver, it was just a stone throws away. Two, I understand the market. I understand the Sydney market. I understand the Melbourne market. I understand the Auckland, Welland. I understand the London market, Toronto. I understand all the west coast of the United States and New York and Massachusetts. Because they're all under the same invasion. And until we could actually wake up and come to grips with what's really happening, we're never going to reach. We'll never be free of this expensive cost of living / tariffs / everything. Dictator Dan saying Sydney rentals are cheap now? Sure, because everyone's leaving. Mass exodusing. So, okay, now let's take a look at this. Pay very close attention. So the article that was in the background was actually saying something very important about the Seattle housing market. How Seattle housing market is still going up, and it's the second hottest market in the country. It was the first hottest market in the country last year. It was the first hottest market in the country the year before. It was the first hottest market in the country the year before that one and the year before that one. Why? Now, let me explain to you what happened. If you lived in one of the major cities that I mentioned, pray for America, because if this happens, America's done. Now, let's take a quick look one more time, visually here, at the crane. This is the crane. This is the crane index. Look at the crane index. 49 cranes in Seattle, 29 in Portland, 24 in San Francisco, 41 in Los Angeles. Wow, people love to live by the water. Bull. Everyone's leaving here. If we could actually get some concrete numbers of how many people have left these states right here and moved east, you'd be very surprised. These cranes should be in the middle of the country, not on the coast. But what's happening on the coast? The massive buyout. The huge buyout. So here it is. So these are articles that come up to today's date. So today's article, I had to shut off because it was blah, 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 blah at the beginning of the show in the background. No one could hear me. But it's basically saying that Seattle housing is the second hottest market right now. One of the housing markets are going crazy. Now, this is how it happened. Vancouver tax pushes Chinese to $1 million Seattle homes. When Vancouver implemented the foreign buyers tax on the tail end of 2016, it just crippled Toronto and King County, Washington State. It crippled. It actually overnight 17% year-over-year increase, 18% year-over-year increase. Crazy. Toronto also a lure after 15% levy on foreign purchases. So this article dates back to the tail end of 2016, and I found this for you guys. Pay very close attention. Look at the date, December 4th, 2016. A few weeks before that, Vancouver implemented the foreign buyers tax. Toronto was also a lure after 15% levy on foreign buyers on foreign purchases. Buyers to look for value. Why pay more for the same thing? Now, here's the problem. I could bet you 100 to 1 that in the city of Seattle and King County surrounding area, in the surrounding area of Seattle, that 1 out of 3 homes are completely empty. No one lives there. It's a foreign investment. Parking money. So this is it. Just a few days after Vancouver announced a tax on foreign property investors, Seattle real estate broker Lingli Shenggu Chu received a message for wealthy Chinese businessmen who wanted to sell home in Canada and buy in her area. So there it is. They're buying, and they're buying. So after the shift, there's the shift, search shift online inquiries from Vancouver to Seattle. And the rising sales is right here. They didn't have any figures because the tax was just implemented in Vancouver. The average price of the Greater Toronto home rose 23% in November. I'm sorry. I thought it was 14%. The average price of a Greater Toronto home rose 23% in November from a year earlier. So it went from $586,000 for a home in Toronto to $776,000. Now we're sitting in the $1.5 million mark. And all the money shot up because of the foreign buyers tax that was implemented in Vancouver to protect the locals. The locals are gone. Vancouver's an empty shell. It's like when we had Maneko64 on the channel. He was telling us that there's no locals. The locals don't live in London. They can't afford to live in London anymore. They have to way out of the city. So Dictator Dan is saying they are buying us out of existence. So pay attention. Okay, I even read this article in Trends in the Housing Market. I think it was episode 56 or 42. I read this article for you guys. Now we're backtracking this article because this is serious. People don't understand how much damage it is, how damaging it is when there's foreign money being parked on our shores. Literally on the shore. Because look at the crane index here. Break down the crane index. Look at the cranes. These cranes, with the mass exodus of people leaving the western states, it's wagons east right now. The people leaving the western states, these cranes should be in Texas, West Virginia, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, should be in these areas, North and South Carolina, not on this side where everyone's leaving. So Matthew is saying GTA stands for Greater Toronto Area. He's saying GTA. I thought that stood for Grand Theft Accommodation. Oh, we got Ralphie. Yo, Ralphie, what's up, dog?
Hey, man. Let's talk housing.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, we got Ralphie out of New Zealand wearing a suit. Hold on, let me get you on here. Let me get you on here real quick. Have you been watching the show from this part here where the foreign investment invasion here?
Yeah. That's why I called in. I've been watching from the start. So
yeah, sorry about that background noise earlier in the show. I don't even know how that thing kept replaying behind my back.
That's all good. Hey, I just wanted to explain a little bit some of my insight on what's happening with housing.
Go ahead.
It's a similar model to the grocery store. I actually have someone who's a manager at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it, all the products that are on the shelf, or say the fruit and veggie aisle, the showing of abundance actually encourages spending. So the more apples you have on display, the more you'll sell, 3 or 4 apples, for example. In terms of housing, what's happening, and especially in the Auckland area, I can vouch for my area in New Zealand, is you're getting single dwellings that are being sold on auction. 90% of listings at the moment is auction. And what's happening is developers are swooping up the land and, say, buying the house for $1 million, putting 4 houses on that land for $1 million each with a tidy profit of $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the obvious game plan. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of this. But what's happening is, to gain profit, they don't have to sell all those houses. They only have to sell 1 or 2. So, as you know, a lot of housing is left empty. But all it is like you say, it's about, and this also directly ties with currency at the moment. With our fiat system, the dollar currencies are hyperinflating. So housing is being treated as an asset class.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it comes down to. So you've got wealthy individuals or bodies of entities. It's not necessarily individuals. It'll be under some sort of company name or whatever, shell company, whatever. So you can't really tie it to the
Seattle.
To the
in the state
original.
of Seattle, they've opened, I don't know how many thousands, probably like 6,000 to 17,000 shell companies just to buy real estate since 2016. That's just to buy real estate only. That's not to actually legitimately open a company to hire people. That's just to have a number. And that's what it is. It's all about shell companies after shell companies after shell companies hiding the real names and individuals, the real owners, because they don't want to be traced. But what it comes down to is that currencies are hyperinflating, no longer backed by anything. So housing is an easy storage of wealth because it's an asset class, which is unfortunate because housing should be a basic human need. But, well, we're not asking for free housing, but when you look at that article I was just reading, and one before that someone needs to work 18 years to be able to make a down payment on a home, it just takes your spirit out of you. It makes you like unmotivated from owning a house. It makes you not motivated for wanting to get into the markets. You know what I'm saying?
Let me give a piece of advice for people getting into housing, especially first-time home buyers, because I actually managed to negotiate my house price very considerably just by using some sales tools that I've developed over. I've been in sales. I'm not in sales now, but I was in sales for 10 years. But let me give a tip for any first home buyers with what's called the 3 asks in sales. 3 asks means you have 3 opportunities to negotiate. With each tier of negotiation, it's almost like you've got to develop a story first before getting to that closing ask. So I'll give you an example. So I was in negotiations with my property. I spent a good hour to negotiate it down $20,000. But I just said, like, I developed a story. I said things like, I know that this is the asking price, but we're a young couple and we want this property to be a blessing, not a curse. All this sort of stuff, you know, hey, we're a young couple, we're looking at starting a family bliss, this. So you're building up the story, and then you go, okay, well, this is the price I'm willing to set it for. They'll obviously come up with a counter negotiation. Boom, that's your first ask. If that doesn't work, then you develop a new story. So, and, you know, this could take 30 minutes of just discussing one-on-one. Second ask. And then third, final ask, if they don't move, then basically you just got to shop around, because each seller is in a different position. So you just got to do your research. And not every seller is evil, obviously. Most sellers are just you and I. So I've heard of stories, if you're in the selling position, I've heard of stories where sellers will only sell to families and not developers. So there's that too. So everyone has a part in this game.
Mm-hmm. Everyone definitely plays a part. But what's concerning right now is that a lot of these cities are becoming empty shells. Vancouver's an empty shell. We just spoke to Maneko 64 last week on the show. London's an empty shell. Locals can't afford to live in their own cities. So it's gotten to this point now. We're already here. Canada's finished. So is New Zealand's becoming a nation of renters. Then you have Australia, where they don't even know if they're tricking or treating there. And then now I heard the Perth market looks like it's going to start going back up again after the mining crash. It looks like there's some resurrection happening there. Then you got Melbourne going down in prices. Sydney looking like but it's just a mishmash of trying to stay afloat. And 20, 30 years ago, all you needed was just a regular job that paid you an average wage, and you got ahead in life. Now, with 3 jobs paying you an average wage, man, you have to eat cardboard to get ahead.
Yeah. I mean, these are all just symptoms to a problem. We got to go back to the root. And the root is, one of it is education. A lot of people are so financially illiterate that they don't realize that debt is slavery. The borrower is slave to the lender. So if that language becomes commonplace, then the pricings will adjust accordingly. So you mentioned that I was following your channel, that video for that property, 1.8 million for a little shack.
Mm-hmm.
If it's such commonplace educational-wise that everyone was like, you're laughing, you're obviously a scammer, and that is so obvious to everybody, then that price is not going to sell at 1.8 million. So it all starts with education, knowing what's happening, and just spreading it like wildfire.
Mm-hmm. We've been in Canada. We've had in the forefront a lot of foreign money dumped here. A lot. We had a money laundering task force that was shut down, and they've actually found $207 billion laundered through Canadian real estate. And it wasn't laundered through integrated layering like old-fashioned money layering. It was actually just shadow flip through homes. And that's all we got. That's all we were allowed to see was a couple of years. And that was from 7-8 years ago, the information we got. They're not releasing anything after that because it goes in. They say it goes into probably $800 billion laundered.
Well, the game's up. It's that whole thing about the whole snake oil salesman.
Mm-hmm.
The game's up. Everyone should know that there's plenty of snake oil out there. So it's up to every individual, from buyers to sellers, to start playing the game differently. And that's all it takes to fix pricing. That's supply and demand for you. That's basic economics.
Well, it's an artificial supply and demand because of the amount of empty homes, right? We have. I think the McChronicle would put something up on his. I think on his Twitter or something, that the amount of empty homes or empty condos in certain cities, and you take pictures at night, like no lights are on, like the city's in total darkness. You don't see any lights on in any of the condos. And the skyrise I used to live in Vancouver, there was only 11 people living in there. Of 350 units, it was only 11 people.
Unfortunately, re-educating the mass is not as easy as it seems, because there's a lot against this whole new thinking with propaganda, such as property, what I call, those new property programs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously promoting competition and things like that at auctions. It's all brainwashing.
It is. Because 10 years ago, 20 years ago, Ralphie, you go see the home, you'll put in an offer $20,000 less because it needs a roof, right? Or $30,000 less because it needs more work. Nowadays, people go, oh, that thing's going to fall on the ground in 24 hours. I got to buy it right now. I'm going to pay $800,000 over asking.
Well, that's the thing. People are emotional creatures. And, this is one of the strategies I did when I was looking for property. I openly told real estate agents, if it's an auction, I'm not going, because I don't want to be in a position that I'm basically purchasing based on emotions.
Right.
That's when a lot of people get into trouble, is when they're using their the biggest purchase of their life, which is a business transaction, basing that on emotion. And that's what a lot of people are being brainwashed to do, is to, compete based on emotion. So it's all about knowing what the game is and playing it differently. And when I looked at properties, I looked at 100 properties plus before making a purchase. I was looking at open homes 3 or 4 times, because when it came to the negotiating table, I knew exactly what to say. I said, hey, you're asking for, in my position, I bought a three-bedroom 1950s house, single dwelling, for 780,000 New Zealand. I could buy this now, or I could buy a new build for 750,000. Like that kind of negotiating sort of language. So, but yeah, it's all about education, guys. And I wish everyone luck, obviously, because it is a tough game. But that's all it is, guys. It's a game. So we have to have new thinking from every level, from buyers to sellers. And you got to remember that there's a lot of incentive for the people that are at the top of the triangle to keep this game going.
Of course.
Because they're living like no one else is living. You know what I mean?
If you look at city councilors across the board, like city councilors in a lot of these cities and towns that get voted in, a lot of them have a vested real estate interest in these towns that they live in. And they don't want housing to go, you know what I'm saying?
Well, banking system, real estate agents, they're all in it together. Investors, real estate agents, they're all in it together. Because why? There's incentive to keep the game going for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, housing is an asset class, guys. It's being treated as an asset class, which is wrong, because housing should be a basic human right. So I hope everyone the best. That's my input, and I look forward to seeing what the rest of the show.
Thank you, Ralphie.
involves.
God bless you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Bye.
God bless. Bye.
That is our man Ralphie in down New Zealand, down New Zealand, down under New Zealand. And yeah, it's a game. It's what it is. And it's gotten to a point where, I mean, I think government, like especially the government of Canada, Australia, New Zealand, I think they've kind of shrugged off the middle class and kind of said, I think we're better off bringing in more money into the country than creating better, not the governments, allowing people to create and innovate better opportunities for themselves. You don't need government. Yep, V-Rocket saying the real estate cartel. IDK77 is saying housing is not an asset unless you are making money from it. Stan Ultra saying, how many middle-class jobs have been lost a lot in the last 40 years? Man, that's a huge number. That's a lot. That's when we went from 40 years ago was when we went through middle-class wealth, upper wealth. That's when we used to build wealth. That's when we, as a human race back in the day in the West, we used to build wealth. It was very hard back in the day to just blow all your money unless you were on doing some weird crap. But you all saved money back in the day. You know, the interest rates the bank were paying back on your money. You actually saved money. It was good. It was good. All you had to do was just get an average wage job, parking cars or doing something, and that's it. That covered your rent. That covered everything you needed to live. There you go, Dictator Dan. No jobs, no industry in Australia, just foreign money. We should get Dictator Dan to call into the show. Dictator Dan, you want to call into the show, buddy? Jimmy747, another great show. Thanks, buddy. Someone says, Mike, I'm considering buying a house in the Phils. I think Philippines. Yeah, I'm building a house in the Philippines. We should actually bring it up during the show, too. I could bring that up and show you guys the house I'm building for a couple of grand. And you look at it, I had some construction guys message me and say, holy crap, that's a poured concrete, cinder block, double framed, like, how do you, like, that's, to build that in Canada is like 3 times the amount of the average house that, you know, we build here. Stan Ultra saying, as long as you didn't live in an extravagant life, you had some pocket change and could put some away for a rainy day, not for 20 years now. Is that possible? Well, we got Walking Journey in the house. He's on the water diet, guys. Check out his channel if you get a chance. He's on the water diet. Yeah, best part about this, Anthony Ruvalacaba said, best part about this is to put a laneway house to rent. Yeah, man. Dude, you can get like $3,000 a month from a laneway house. Okay, sure, you could probably, you know, with what you pay in rent for a year for a laneway house, you could buy 40 acres of land in Tennessee. Okay, but still, bang for the buck, guys. Okay, let's go back to this crane map here. I'm ready to throw something out the window here. Here it is. Look at this crane map. Look at the cranes. These are all Exodus cities. Look here. Let me move my fat head out of the way. Look at that. Look at all the cranes. And look at Toronto. 124 cranes in Toronto. And nobody has money there. But houses are selling way over $1 million. So we got Walking Journey saying I'm down 40 pounds so far. That's good, buddy. Anthony saying, I'm talking about my neighbor, Mike. He built a new house and put a laneway house as well. Good. Okay, so here are your cranes, right? Let's move on. Let's go back to what I was talking about. Vancouver tax pushes Chinese to $1 million Seattle homes. So now let's go back. This is a really key article. I read this on, I think it was episode 46 on Trends in the Housing Market. The average price in the Greater Toronto home rose 23% in November. This is in 2016 when Vancouver put the foreign buyers tax from a year earlier to $776,000. So if you're going to tell me that foreign buyers or foreign investing has nothing to do with the pricing of housing in the Commonwealth, then you're completely out to lunch. Completely. Oh, it's a low interest rates. Yeah, the low interest rates. The low interest rates were created to get the Canadian in the market or the Australian in the market. If interest rates remain at 5, 6, 7% where they should be, no Canadian and no Australian and no UKer and nobody from Western United States will buy anything. So there it is right there. So there it is. You see? 23%. Oh, we got Anthony Ruvalacaba send me $5. Thank you. 23% in November from a year earlier. Okay? 23% from a year. And that's because of the foreign buyers tax that was implemented in Toronto. In Vancouver. And look what's happened to Seattle and Toronto. And it says right here from Bloomberg. Look at this. From 2016. Look at this. Toronto also a lure after 15% levy on foreign purchases. Buyers look for value. Why pay more for the same thing? It's not location. It's park my money. And this, if you can't get a grip to this, you know what I'm saying? Then we got issues. Then you got issues. Seattle real estate market even hotter than as Chinese investors flee Vancouver. There it is again. This year, British Columbia introduced a 15% offshore investor tax on real estate. The new tax has a dramatic impact on home sales, fell 26% in August from 2,489 sold compared to 3,362 sold in August in 2015, according to the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. Seattle real estate agents that cater to Chinese nationals said they have seen an increase in business, and 70% of their clients now are are Chinese. There you go. Portuguese, they get deported. But there it goes right there. So this is happening, and this is a big deal. Seattle is the new Vancouver. This is from July of 2019. Seattle is the new Vancouver when it comes to Chinese housing investment. Again, empty homes. People buying these condos, they're not buying condos for land assembly. Okay? So intensive government interventions creating unfavorable housing market conditions for foreign investment in Metro Vancouver have prompted a surge in mainland Chinese investors down to South Seattle. There you go. Despite new capital controls imposed by Beijing in recent years to reduce outflows from China to foreign markets, some mainland Chinese are still seeking safe places to park their capital. There you go. So look at Crane City here. Look at Crane City here on the west when they're having a mass exodus. What are they building for? Why during COVID-19, why was construction considered mandatory, essential? Well, who's going to buy the homes? Well, we got to build homes because now let's go back. Let's go back here real quick. Canadian population growth slows to the lowest rate in years. Hold on. Here it is. This is why. Canadian mortgage debt passes 80% of GDP for the first time. There you go. I already read this article on the channel, but there you go right there. There you go. And lowest population growth. Canadians can't have kids because they can't afford to. You need a home. Like, we're programmed to have a place, a dwelling for us to feel comfortable, have a family, start a life, and move forward. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. It's all about money. Okay, so let's move on to here. Chinese millionaires pick Seattle as number 2 place in the world to live. So this is an article from 2017. So this started from the late 2016, and man, it just took off. It took off. And Los Angeles ranking number 1. Is it Los Angeles? Where was it? Yeah, Los Angeles for 18% of Chinese investors. And number 2 spot was Seattle. So there it is right there. So Vancouver, look at Seattle there, just blowing up. San Francisco, again, New York. Now let's go back to the Crane City here. Here's our Crane City, right? Right. Okay, let's look at it again. Look at all the cities where the cranes are being built. Look at over here. Let's go back over here. Look where they are here. Look at that. So this is before Toronto went crazy, but there it is right there. So this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy what's been happening. And we allowed it. We let it happen. Foreign investors skipping Vancouver and interest in Seattle real estate spikes. Vancouver has been transformed by Chinese immigration. So, guys, I'm not picking on the Chinese. I'm actually just trying to tell you guys that there's this massive economic takeover, but everyone's protesting on the street for other things. They're not protesting affordability. These are all articles in the news. So, the Aussie city headed for housing bubble. Let's see what we have. Melbourne and Sydney house values tumble through September. This is the September cliff that Martin North was talking about. He was on our show discussing it. The suburb where home values rose 10% during the lockdown. This is probably along the Gold Coast here. Housing has been going up there in those regional areas. And immigration slumped to weigh heavily on Australians' house prices. So we've seen Canadian articles, Australian articles, New Zealand articles basically commenting and discussing how the lack of wealthy investors coming into the country have actually created a downward push on housing because they can't get people to come in and buy. And that's what the game has been for the last 10 years. And that's where we're being crippled. That's where we're being robbed. And I'm telling you guys this because this is what's actually happening. So, oh no, Mike, the price of houses in Toronto went up not because of foreign buyers, Mike. You're being racist. No. We'll go back here. I don't know why Bloomberg has to lie about this. The average price in the Greater Toronto home rose 23% in November from a year earlier, from $776 to $586, while sales soared almost 17%. The local real estate board reported on December 2nd that the value, meanwhile, sales have plunged in July, were down 37% the month compared to the prior year. So things are going nuts. Now, look at where Toronto is today. We read the article today, and it was this one here. It's crazy. So the average, this is the average condo apartment. So this is detached home right now in the greater Vancouver area, for example, $1.5 million.
I love China.
Red Pill Gary saying it's greed and FOMO. Papa Piss says Mitch sounds like a ruling class in the making. Hey, I'm a Catholic. Is Ashima there? Let me see if Ashima's there. Let me see if she's here. She's under my favorites. Where'd she go? Did she block me? Ah, there she is. Let me see if is she watching, guys?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, are you busy?
I'm not. Go ahead.
Are you watching the show?
No, I'm just going to switch it on. Actually, I was just into finishing some program. I was making an app.
Oh, you should have watched the last 20 minutes. I really unloaded there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, awesome, you're going to watch. Go back on the show when it's uploaded. Go back to about like 20 minutes from go back 20 minutes from now on the show. Yeah. So go back to the 40th minute and watch. It's been getting tough, especially during the sickness, and price of housing is going up. It's crazy. So how are you with your
have you online now? I'm watching you right now. Yeah, I've been studying and upgrading my skills, and learning C# and learning different languages, programming languages. So just reading as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I picked up C#, I picked up Java, I picked up PHP.
Good. Then you could make something for my YouTube or some sort of code for me on an app or something. So what happened to the house deal you were going to get? Did that go through?
Yes, I got that house. I'm just waiting for it. But Mike, they sent me a letter telling me that project might be delayed and the house is ready to move in. They just tell me that, give us your pre-approval, which I've already given to them. But then they need additional details. But they're not even ready to tell me that if I'm getting my house on time or not. My house is ready. Can you believe it?
So they're not letting you move in?
Oh, no, they have to finish up the kitchen. Like, they have to do the...
Okay. Well, yeah, they're falling behind is what it is, right?
Yeah, but the house is ready, Mike. So I really don't know. Either they don't have that the material at the cost they probably had it before, or what's going on. They're saving taxes or what? I have no clue. Usually what this sounds like to me is when a builder doesn't want to give that house during that year because they get into, they're probably taking benefit of COVID and things like that. These guys don't pay a lot of taxes, do they? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to on that, but that's how things work, right? Big corporates don't pay at all. It's like people like working class like us who pay, right?
Right.
Which we're happy to. We want that people around us should be as successful as we all are, right? Mm. That's our success. I'm not going to be happy with people, things happening wrong around me and there's looting and, things like that. So we all need to have things, but things don't seem to be really working out very well. So I've just thought that I'll put my mind somewhere else away from the negativity. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I look is COVID, Mike. And you're right, things are really getting bad. They're really getting out of hands. Mm-hmm. But they really trained the whole industry to speak a narrative. And everybody's speaking that narrative. Nobody talks different because they're all speaking a narrative. So I felt that I am constantly breaking my head up, except for the people in your room, obviously, Mm-hmm. But then what to avail what? Like I was talking to my mortgage consultant. He was telling me, you can easily transfer your mortgage as long as the house is not for anything more than 1 million. Mike, I don't know what to say. I personally know 5 families who've bought a house on outskirts, at least 2 hours away and are paying 1 million for a normal house, Mike.
Okay, but that's the outskirts. No. It's not the outskirts. We're talking about secondary and tri-cities.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, outskirts mean you're like just right at the edge of town, at the edge of the city. No, not the edge. This is like 2-hour car.
I'm not talking of one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking of 2 hours drive from Toronto.
On a Hayabusa, 2 hours.
Yeah, and 1 million. They just bought it. They were waiting like me in the market. But then they said, oh gosh, we're just losing out. FO4 right? But I was lucky. I kept it in my budget. I bought something very much in my budget and exactly to my liking. So I did what I did. But I don't know how they're getting their approvals and how they're paying. God only knows. I have no clue, Mike. I don't really want to speak about it and think about it. It just scares me to death, I get so scared. How is it practically possible? Even if with an income of 150,000 per annum, you're a hand to mouth. If you pay your taxes, which obviously you are, because you're an income salaried staff,
Yeah, 40% of your income goes to the government.
Yeah. So there's nothing left. All you're left with is maybe a reasonable car that you can drive, reasonable food that you can eat, and a normal, non-lavish house that you live in.
Well, now that I got you on the phone and you're from the province of Ontario, I'm going to actually bring up an article I brought up earlier in the show and go over it with you right now. North Bay tops among affordable housing markets. So let's break it down again. So if you're looking for a home in the Ontario region, North Bay house price $286,114, income required $39,893. Sudbury home price is $297,938, income required $33,749. Windsor, Ontario, $383,521, income required $52,192. Niagara Falls area home price $493, income required $66,317. And those are the most affordable areas left in Ontario until they get bought out. Niagara Falls, $493. And the most reasonable is North Bay, $286 for the average home on the market.
Mike, go to Niagara. There's nothing available for 600.
Really?
I don't getting these figures, This is outdated.
It is? Let me see.
Yes, just go to Niagara. One of my friends
It's from yesterday.
just wanted to buy a house for 600 and could not buy a single detached house for 1,800 square feet. Just go open up the builder's website. I'll show you. Just see the houses they're selling at. I don't know. They just peddling a narrative.
So this is from yesterday's date.
Like, a person, I'm telling you, I'm so conservative that my mortgage consultant is like, take this mortgage from me. No, take. I said, no, I'm not going to take. No, I'm so highly conservative, and I'm telling you, Mike, and I think that I'm okay. I'm reasonably okay, right? I'm a middle class person, but after all that, you don't end up saving anything. So I really don't know with the taxes that we pay. And I have on my contract the taxes I'm going to pay. Should not exceed that much, but Mike, it's not a joke. And you're talking about what income? You're talking of 35,000, 60,000? And I'm talking of 150, even then you cannot afford.
Well, apparently, according to these numbers, if it's the $1.4 million detached average price in the Greater Toronto area, you need to make at least $144,000. And then with all this COVID and lockdowns, I don't see how this is happening.
Mike, you can't afford in 150,000. You cannot afford a 1.4 million. What are you talking here? It is not practically possible. And just imagine, God forsake, that the mortgage rates go up, the interest rates go up. The yield, how much they're doing yield control. When I see all this, when I watch all this, I feel like puking. It just scares me to death. People who just go buy things, it scares me to death, Mike. You know what kind of a risk they are taking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mike, I'm actually buying 50% of my net worth I'm paying for my house. That's what I believed in. Actually, I'm a person who thinks never buy more than 25% of your net worth. That should be your home. Never ever put everything you have in one thing. Distribute your wealth. Just keep some gold, keep some properties, keep some investments, keep something in your savings account, keep something in the stock market. It's like just distribute your wealth, right?
Diversify.
Never just put everything. Yeah, diverse. That's the only way that and you just can't look at just the stock market that way. Diversify. No, this diversification has to be also in your assets that you hold, and which is obviously a part of your major asset is a house over here. So if everything more than what people actually own gets into the house, I don't know. And
that's why people are house broke. They don't take vacation, they eat cardboard, and they don't have much of a choice because they are house broke.
And Mike, they say they have very good people who, like the authorities over here. They really take care of everyone. They just make it sure nothing goes wrong. It's all crap, Mike. First of all, if there were good authorities, this house prices would have never happened. And then the only line they peddle is like, oh, look at the immigration. Oh, look at how much people want to come. I mean, we're talking sense here, right? Immigration or no immigration. You can't just go and buy things which are not that much. Never live in a house. What is the value that you're getting in it? You're only thinking of if it goes up after 2 years. Everybody who buys the house over here thinks, oh, it's going to go up. And I bought my house and people are telling me, God, your house you bought it at X price. It's gone up X plus 200,000. And which is a fact. It's crazy.
Let me bring up something here, Ashima, that I brought up earlier on the show and I was losing my temper. So this is an article I brought up earlier. Vancouver tax pushes Chinese to $1 million Seattle homes. So this is what happened in the tail end of 2016 when Vancouver put on the foreign buyers tax. Listen to this, okay, Ashima? Pay attention, okay? The average price of a Greater Toronto home rose at 23% in November from a year earlier to $776,000 from $586. So the average house sale in Toronto, Ashima, in 2016 was $586. Vancouver puts on the foreign buyers tax. The average price in Toronto housing went up from the year before, $776,000. That's a 23% increase in a year. While sales soared almost 17% of the local real estate board. So there it is there. So there it is. So it is here in this article where Now, Seattle Metropolitan has already seen a 50% jump in house prices in the last 5 years, thanks to the booming. Now, they're booming in on the tech company, but once Vancouver's benchmark price was at $919,000 in 2016. Now, with the foreign buyer's tax, a house would cost $1.06 million. So now, Seattle housing went up, and Toronto housing went up, and they were both affected when Vancouver implemented the foreign buyer's tax. Look at that increase, Ashima, in less than a year, 23%. So if it's not foreign money coming on our shores, then I don't know what's driving this market right anymore. I'm telling you right now.
You know what's driving this market, right? Mike, let me tell you one thing. Everybody's talking about it. Drug and flesh trade. And this is not Canada. This is all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And these authorities are just turning the eye. They're just looking the other way. This is all dark money.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
I'm right here. I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
So that's the only reason why all this is happening. If a salaried person like a normal standard 150,000, you cannot live. I mean, like a person like my family income, I'm talking of just not me. I'm talking of people I know of. They're having difficulty. This is a normal standard life they're living, right? So after paying how much taxes you pay after 150 or 140, right? What are you left with after that?
Well,
So
if you make
all you can-
140,000, you're left with about 83,000.
Yeah, that's exactly what. So then again, you just minus your car expenses, petrol, insurance, house insurance, taxes, house. You're paying your mortgage. Even if you pay a 35% down on your house.
And you know what the funny part is, Ashima? On some of these homes in Toronto that went up, in the matter of 1 year, went up 33%. Property taxes stayed the same. Property taxes never went down in Toronto. They stayed the same, even though properties went from $586 to $776 in the matter of 1 year.
So, Mike, do you see the audits of all these grants and all these subs? I've not got a single sub. I've not got a single grant. Who's getting it? Where is all this money going?
I don't know. There's just so much happening.
All these projects which are being sanctioned by the government, where is all that money going? They don't know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
You know the casino thing now, right?
Yeah.
In Markham, is that so? You know about it. And then they met the Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is it. It's all this snow washing and all this going on. And it's just not here, Mike. It's all over the world. They have a cartel. They are hand in gloves with politics. And it's who are you going to talk about? Trump, who doesn't pay taxes? Or Mr. T?
Yeah.
All the big T's, We're not anywhere. We are the standard people, and Mike, we are the most affected. Because we pay the highest taxes. We see that our neighbors probably don't have a job, and we try to help people. Okay, fine. Let's help each other out. Give them jobs. Let them have good food. Let there be warm food on everybody's tables. That's all that we pray for, right? And Mike, it's not about Indian, Chinese, or anyone who's staying here in Canada. It's not about foreign buyers or anything. I think this is a narrative peddled by the governments themselves. Because
I understand that. But they're not safekeeping our borders, or they're not protecting us. Like, if me and you launder money, we'd be in prison right now. But depending on who launders the money, it's okay. And that's what I don't like.
You know how much they asked me for my mortgage pre-approval? What is the source of my funds? I said, I've given my bank statements, Baba. And this is my saving of my life. And are you asking me for that? I've worked throughout my life to save that money. I've traveled the world and worked my ass out and saved that money. And it's hardly anything. So I really don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Go try putting in large cash deposit on the bank. They will track you down. And these kind of people, they go buy cars cash. They never even asked what they're doing. They're given mortgage approvals without
they go into casinos with hockey bags full of money.
Yeah, so that is a casino in Markham, and Mr. T supports everything, right?
Oh, never mind the casino. That's been happening in Melbourne. It's been happening in Sydney. It's been happening in Toronto, Vancouver. They've been washing. They even open up casinos just to launder money.
Yeah, so that's it. That's why they're all shut, because the old people, poor people were getting viruses and corona and things like that. They don't care about those people who come play over there.
Mm-hmm.
They only care about doing what happens inside in there. Have you seen those? I've seen those walls made of grills and stuff like that on casino. Gosh, Mike, have you ever seen anyone attacking these kind of places?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And look at the amount of security they have over there. It's like the underworld kingpin over there.
Mm-hmm.
God, I feel like going to such places. It's so scary. I'm just happy to be home. Well, I just hold to one narrative. There is corona. I respect it. I stay. I follow rules. That's all I do. I try to follow the rules I am supposed to the best of my knowledge. And believe me or not, Mike, it's you, the people on your channel, and a common man I know, all just want to follow rules and be a good citizen. But who are the rule breakers? The people who have power.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Who's going to bail the cat?
That's right.
I really don't know how to say that, but these people peddle narratives, Mike. They will go speak to, and how much taxes do realtors pay? Do you know? Zero. And what is they earning? Lots of it. They'll buy houses, they resell, and they'll show it as their prime residence.
Yeah.
People like me won't even think of doing that. I know there is an option, there is a way out, but what we do, people like us will live on a rent because we feel their prices are too high. These guys will write their narrative. They'll walk their narrative.
Well, before we let in rich tons of money being parked in our country, we never had this problem.
Mike, it's happening all over the world. It's not.
Oh, it's happening in Ireland. It's happening in. I've made videos for all these countries. Like even in Ireland, they were seeing bidding wars in Dublin 2 years ago. Ashima, they never seen bidding wars before. Like, what's going on here? Back in the day, in 2 years ago, 3 years ago in Dublin, Ireland, you walk up to a house. Oh, this is for sale. It's been for sale for 6 months. Let's go ask him an offer. Let's go give him an offer, 30,000 less, and then you negotiate. Now everyone stands outside and pumps up the price.
They say, oh, we don't want to sell for less than that. Okay, no problem. I'll go buy whatever I feel is in my budget. I bought a house which is 300 square feet more for less than the price that I saw another house at. Actually, 400 square feet more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that the person who wanted to sell it was not even bothered. He said, this is the price I want, and I will not sell for anything less than that. And that's it. His house sold for that much that he was asking. I was just lucky I got something which was for a better price. I just kept on looking. That's it. But it's not easy, Mike. One tends to break off. Imagine living in a rented house when you can afford your own house. But it's just that, Mike, I think a common man like me or a common human being like me just wants to live with principles, doesn't want to add up to this frenzy of craziness, doesn't want to talk about a narrative. I don't want to talk about the fact that prices always go up. No, I don't want to. I don't want to peddle any narrative. House prices going up is a dangerous sign for any government. Believe me or not.
Yeah.
Because then your necessities of living, a basic shelter that should be there for everyone. And then they say, oh, yeah, taxes redistribute income. What income redistribution? What?
I understand.
Yeah, why to talk about something which these guys don't even believe it, They just talk over their head. And I think we all have the right to question them. Like, it's very important that we start questioning each and everything that these guys do.
Well, the money laundering investigation that went on was great because it actually started to surface billions and billions of dollars that was brought into our economy, and then they shut it down. Once they found $200 billion in laundered money in a matter of a couple of years in 2011, 12, and 13, they shut it right down.
Do you know what India did? You just remove those notes from the circulation. Like, they just removed them.
Well, what they're trying to do is one economist I actually spoke to the other day who lives in Newfoundland. He actually told me that he believes that the amount of laundered money in Canada is around $880 billion.
That's true. That's absolutely right.
That's so much money because they only found $211 billion, but that was in 2011, 12, 13. So that's all they got. But now to 2020, he's thinking it's about 820, 840.
Shell companies and companies like V and companies like all these, construction companies which are there globally. So whenever you look for a company which has a global presence, think their major earning is money laundering. Well, I don't want to say that openly because I'm not sure, but there are companies which are just shell companies only created to launder money.
Yeah.
And these guys know it, Mike. you and what I and you have to investigate, they all know. They have staff to investigate AML. But they don't allow those people to work also. They don't even give them enough information. They just have an AML department. Every bank has it. But they are not, what? The AML won't know. Who's this company? Who owns it? I mean, like, what's the corporate structure? Nothing. They don't care because most of these people will be, the politicians already know.
Sai Sharp in the comments is saying Ireland is looking at giving away a territory for an autonomous region run by Hong Kong and Chinese billionaire. I heard about that a few weeks ago, that Ireland is looking to sell or give away a territory to, I guess, create a piece of China, I guess, in northern UK or something.
See, this is it. Everybody wants Chinese. Do you know Indian home prices or, land prices have not gone up in the past 5 years since Moody's gotten in? He's really tried to manage things. He's really micromanaged things. Here there is, they don't want to do it. Initially, they were really going up, but now since the past 5 years, everything is very stable. No price increases. Yeah. So people have started changing, like globally, if Canada doesn't want to, too bad for their economy. But I really don't know. So I've just given up on it. Just do my bit.
Okay,
just
Shima.
Sleep. Yeah.
I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
It's been 22 minutes. I'm going to let you go. And,
Thank you.
We'll get you on again. We'll get you on again. Let us know when you get your house, when you move in.
I expect to be moving next year in the beginning, but let's hope the best.
Well, okay. We'll keep in touch, Ashima. Thank you so much for your time and giving us an update on what you think and how you feel. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for the platform.
Yes, God bless.
Cheers, bye.
Bye. That is Ashima. She is kind of giving us laying the land for us, or laying the way for us, or paving the way for us. And when you get articles like this, and it's blatantly written out, basically, immigration slum weigh heavily on Australian house prices, that when you can't get outsiders to come into your country to buy your houses, that's sad. It's happening in Canada. It's happening all over. And if we can't get outsiders to come in and buy our real estate, why? But why? Why, Mike? Why? Well, because of why. I'll show you. Way down here from the other day, I read this on the channel. Canadian mortgage debt passes 80% of GDP for the first time. Here it is right there. The problem isn't about consuming more, it's about producing more. These governments have it backwards. They believe that if they could bring in more people, that they could create an economy from consuming. You cannot create an economy from consuming. You need to create an economy from production. Once you produce, then things work out. But once you try to base an economy off consumption, it's just not going to work. That's what these governments believe. Bring in more people, they'll consume. They consume, our economy keeps strong. No. Economies are built off production, not consumption. I'm sorry. We could argue that if you'd like. I'm free tomorrow around 2 o'clock. Don't fall for debt, someone said. Let's get. I want to see. Where's Morgan? Where's Morgan? Where's Captain Morgan? Let's see if he's in. There he is. He's in my favorites. Let me call him.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Hey, Morgan, how are you, brother?
Not too bad.
Okay, listen, I wanted to call you because you posted a comment on one of my videos today that you are thinking of leaving Arizona because California or Californians moving in are ruining it?
Yeah, I mean, the prices on everything have gone up to the point where it's like, it's a nice break for the Californians that have moved here, but the Arizonans that have lived here their whole lives are struggling to survive here.
And you could still buy a decent home in Arizona for under $300,000, right?
Yeah, you can, but you're not. I mean, if you're willing to live way out in the middle of nowhere.
But think about here in Canada, where the average house outside of a major city in Canada is like $1.4 million.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's even
sustainable.
Well, not only sustainable, but it's like, what's, I mean, I was just driving through this neighborhood over here where I live the other day, and I was actually gonna think about taking a video for you, but I sent that one to you about the townhouses that you haven't put up. I don't know if you saw that one.
I gotta go back through my videos. I remember that one. I put up the Trump rally thing and then I totally forgot about that one.
Oh, that's all right. I just, but I was driving through Chandler, through my, I was going to the doctor's office, and they have these older neighborhoods that were built back in like the 60s, that are just the normal Levittown style houses made out of brick, durable houses, decent built houses that, over time they've become dilapidated, and a lot of, their housing, the housing values in those areas were dropped, right, to the point where, the people that originally bought these houses had left. Then they got bought up by people from other places, like, well, it was when the Mexicans were immigrating here in large numbers. A lot of them took up a lot of these neighborhoods, or moved out of the inner city and took up these neighborhoods, which, is fine. But what winds up happening is, like, these neighborhoods they become kind of ghetto after a while. Not because, I'm not saying it's because, it's Mexican people, but it's over time.
It gets run down. It gets after 10, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, things get old.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, but now they're building these, you have these normal, 50s style neighborhoods here in Arizona, and then the empty plot of land that they have in the neighborhood, they're building these huge sky rises like everywhere, and it's just bizarre. It's like you drive down the roads and it's like, okay, well, here's a regular middle class neighborhood where a family would live, and then right behind the house is a 4-story favela that they just popped up out of nowhere. To house, well, it's not only Californians, but it's mostly Californians coming in, and they just keep building and building and building. Insane.
Were you watching my show earlier when I was showing all the cranes being built and all the cranes the crane activity in Q4 of 2020 in Q4 of 2020 right now in our quarter that we're in right now, basically, of all the cranes in California building all those condos that nobody is going to live in because nobody could afford to live there. And this mass exodus of people leaving, this is nuts, Morgan.
Yeah,
I'm
starting
to crazy.
I'm starting to wonder too, because it's like we talk about the laundering thing, and I didn't really know about the laundering until I was watching your show. I mean, I knew the values were going up, but I didn't really understand why until I started watching your show. But I'm starting to think now that, if all these people are leaving California, then wouldn't the house prices go down? You would think.
Technically, it would, but if you have an open backdoor concept to bring in wealthy millionaires, then you don't need the locals anymore to drive the economy. That's why construction becomes essential, because housing becomes a greater part of the GDP as opposed to production.
Oh, that is just hard to wrap my mind around.
It makes no sense. Yeah, as an American, Morgan, you're an American. You live in the pretty much in the middle of the country, almost to the central west part of, and you see it, and it's so hard to wrap your mind around that concept. But that's where governments are leaning towards. It's either they bring in more wealthy investors to come in and buy us out, or they go into negative interest rates. We're running out of options here.
And it's it's wild when you think about it too, because it's like, all the government gets is just the tax benefits from it, right? I mean, or what else are they getting from it?
It's actually gentrifying to the water company, electric company, because Paris, France had this massive issue of empty homes by foreign investors. That 44,000 of the units of the 120,000 empty units, 44,000 of them weren't even hooked up to the gas, electric, water, cable, nothing.
Oh, Because there's no reason to, because nobody lives
Nobody
there.
lives there. And that's why France raised their empty vacant home tax to 60%.
You know, I've seen your videos too, like in Vancouver, you know, where there's like these garages and shacks and stuff going for like, you know, $2 million, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so is somebody from China like buying the garage in order just to stash their money? That's what's
It's not
happening.
about stashing money. It's about parking money in the real estate, right? And what usually happens is they shadow flip it. So one guy would buy it, and the same guy will have two corporate companies in Canada, and he sell it to the other corporation for $1.8 million, and then sell it back to the other corporation for $2 million, and then sell it back to the other corporation. So he's selling it to himself between two corporations, so he could launder $30 to $50 million in one shot.
Wow, that's almost like well, some of the states that offer you know, you get people from other countries that come and open businesses here, and they give them tax breaks to do it. And then what they wind up doing is they, you know, like say somebody comes over from, it could be anywhere, you know, just Pakistan, for example. Somebody comes from Pakistan, they open a business here, and then once their tax breaks are up for owning a new business, they just change the name of the business and give the business over to their cousin, who also comes from Pakistan, and then.
Yeah, I understand, but that's not that's a trickle down. That's a trickle down, more of a trickle down effect that will not create the misery that we have in Canada. Like every business will have to do that in America for it to create some sort of an effect. It's gotten so bad in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the UK. You know, did you know that in Morgan, that in London, England, it's very hard to find local people that live there anymore because nobody can afford to live there, born and raised. They have to be 40 to 80 minutes out of London because they can't afford to live anywhere near it.
That is just so sad, you know, because it's like, you know, people and places like London too. I mean, I couldn't even imagine. You were just talking about with her name starts with an A. Can't even remember what her name. She was just on.
Ashima.
Ashima. Okay. Yeah, they were talking about selling a portion of Ireland. It's like those people who live in those parts of Europe, their ancestors have been living there for thousands of years, literally thousands of years. I'm just thinking like, wow. And then it's like, what now? In order to live in your own country, in your own town, where your, you know, great grandparents were born and raised the whole family, and it's like you got to go 80 miles out of town and live in a shack and commute into your hometown, you know, to go to work or whatever. It's wild. I mean, I'm glad it's not like that here, but it's just, you know, when you think about it, it's like that's sad that the government and stuff would do that to the people.
It is. It's a sell-off. It's an economic sell-off. We're at war economically, and the average wage earner, even the good wage earners are suffering right now. And they're looking for the exit. And that's why I think they closed the border to the United States with you guys. Canada closed the border. I can't, you know, Morgan, I can't get on a plane and go visit you in the state. I cannot go. But if I want to get on a plane and go to China, it's open for me to go. But I can't go visit you.
Because I think you mentioned that before. Is like they don't want people leaving Canada to try to flee here.
Yeah, because Morgan, I'll be honest with you. I try to flee to America myself, and I got a tax ID number. I owned a company. I did everything in my power to stay there. I paid a lawyer. I got a company to sponsor me, and when I went to the interview process, they told me they weren't looking for my kind. So then I just moved on, right?
Yeah, that's.
But I begged. I begged to live in America. I begged, and I pleaded to live in America.
Yeah, that's just too bad.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, I mean, it is what it is, Morgan. But
the problem, the thing that irritates like a lot of people here, and a lot of people, we don't talk about it anymore. You know, people aren't allowed to talk about it, but it's like, you know, we want hardworking people like you come and start businesses and function and do well, and not somebody who wants to come in here and impose their their languages and their ideologies and all this, you know, vote for the way they voted back back home. It's like, come on.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Well,
And
it's
like, you know what
I mean,
pisses me off the most, Morgan, that pisses me off the most is when people wouldn't stand for a national anthem. That pissed me off.
That pisses me off too, and it's like, yeah, it's, I mean, it's like, come on. And then it's like, you got people too, the Exodus people from California. And this is what pisses me off is that, you get people like Joe Rogan who, open Bernie Sanders supporter, and I'm not saying I don't, I mean, Joe Rogan, he's got a good podcast and all that. And he's not a horrible person, I don't think, but it's like, this guy openly endorsed Bernie, was living in LA, and then was like, you know what? Oh, I'm going to go to Texas, and I'm going to go to Austin, which is like the most liberal place in Texas. And then I'm going to go impose my California ways on, the Texans that live there. And it's like, even Texas is like, Arizona's right next door. So we get like kind of the brunt of it, but it's like, Texas is, I mean, they're going to Texas too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they're changing. I mean, you think about it the way, and this is just all from housing, so it's like,
it all stems from housing and affordability issues in housing.
It is, because and it's like, okay, so if you have the reason why they want to get rid of the Electoral College is because
they want the major cities to win the votes.
Right, they want the major cities to win the votes. But what happens when you get all these Californians moving to all these other rural areas or out into different states and stuff, and all it takes is just a few percent, mm-hmm. right, to tip everything over. So that's why you're getting situations where like Texas is teetering on being a blue state or being a toss-up state. Arizona's a red state, but we're going to be, we're pretty much blue anymore. I mean, I don't think we'll have, like, our government's, pretty much shifting over to, just within the last, like, I don't know, 6 years, I would say. It went from being like a hard red state to becoming, we're I don't know, maybe one election cycle away from becoming blue.
That's dangerous.
And it is dangerous. It is dangerous. And in Florida and, all these places are becoming toss-up, and it's all because people are moving, transitioning across the country because they're trying to escape the blue states.
I call it shifting population patterns.
Yeah, shifting population patterns.
I made that up. I don't even think that's even a real term.
But I wonder, I mean, I know it's not true there because they're not that smart. But it's like, what if there was like some sort of conspiracy where they're, the Democrats are purposely trying to destroy their own states so that they can shift the electoral power over to the. I don't know. I don't know.
That is definitely a Mike in the Night topic for friggin' sure.
I mean,
we're a couple of weeks away.
I don't have any. Obviously, I'm just talking out. I'm just thinking out loud, but.
Yeah, no. Let me ask you something, Morgan. Who do you think is going to win this election?
If I had to bet money, and I wouldn't bet very much money, I would say Trump is going to win.
Yeah, I bet somebody $100, but I bet somebody $100 that Trump was going to win because he's telling me he gets all his facts. Some guy came in my store today and told me that he's got the facts and he knows what's going on. Unlike me, I don't know what I'm talking about, and he watches his facts on CNBC and CNN.
Yeah, I mean well. Look, what do they? I mean, this isn't new. I mean, they've done this before with CNN and all these other news outlets.
CNN announced Hill Dog won the election when she lost.
Yeah, well, that's because the only people willing to vote in their polls are people who watch their programming. And so, what is that going to show you? That you got, 90% favor or 94% chance that Hillary's going to win the election. Mm-hmm. Everybody's jaw dropped when Trump wins, and it's like, well, this is what happens when you censor people and you don't, let their voices be heard or try to even have any understanding or tolerance of their beliefs, and just force average Americans into their homes to not say anything.
Let me ask.
Well, they're gonna go and vote in the dark then, but they're still gonna go do it.
That's the undecided. Yeah, they never tell you who the undecided is. Let me ask you something. Flash Travel has a question here. There will be riots and violence on election night, regardless who wins. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if that will be as a direct result of the election thing, but I'm sure the tension and animosity built up. And then there's going to be some event that happens, like I'm sure somebody's going to get killed or something, and then it's going to spark it. So I'm sure that'll happen. I mean, because that happens, once every few months, right? Something like that happens, and everybody goes crazy, and then it dies down, and then everybody goes crazy again. But this kind of stuff isn't just going to end, especially when we don't have any solutions to these problems. The way I see it is like, okay, well, they want to defund the police here because
they want to defund the police in your state too.
That's not so bad here.
Okay,
we don't really have. We're not really at risk of that here in Arizona. But I mean, other states. I'm from Seattle. I was born in Seattle, and I've got family that live up there. It's like, up there. I mean, that's a real concern.
Dude, you need $1 million just to get a detached 1,400 square foot home there.
I know. I can't. That's where I was born. I'm a fifth generation born there. That's where my family's from. But I couldn't live there unless I wanted to live in the outskirts and the gang hood areas,
or in a van.
But I make right now in Arizona. I was gonna ask for, well, not advice, but I'm 24 years old and I'm not as savvy, I suppose, or some of the listeners to your show and all that about what I should do financially, because I quit a high paying job when I got married this year, so that I could be home with my wife primarily was the reason. So, but now I'm making like 40 grand a year, and it's like she makes, I don't know, between the both of us, we'll probably make like 100 grand a year, but we're still right now, just because I took the pay cut, we're struggling just to get by. It's like we don't even live in we live in a townhouse. We don't live in anything fancy. We just live in a like a townhouse in the inner city, and we don't have any. I mean, this is all we have. Like, I can't. I mean, we make decent money by most standards, right? But
yeah, where you're living demographically, the area you're in, that's a lot of cake.
A lot of cake.
A lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah.
In your demographic area where you're at, that's actually a very decent income. Like in Canada, like if you were, I mean, I don't even know how these people make it, but you're in a place that's what, 200,000-400,000, but then you come to Canada, that same place is like 1.7, maybe $2 million. So that's the problem. Like and they make less than you do because they get taxed more.
Now, so I'm wondering about that too. It's like, well, do like the workers there, like the normal people who just live there and they're not going to leave, or they just bunk up and share a house together, like hostel style, in order to survive? Or how's the economy functioning?
Well, they caught somebody in Toronto, in the city of Toronto, 3-bedroom, and there was 41 people living in it.
Okay, so that's your gas station workers and stuff, I assume then, right?
Probably, and service workers and stuff.
Because it's like, that's a huge industry, especially in the inner cities, and you just got to wonder. It's like, how are these people, how are these folks surviving? It's like, and what's normal to them? It's like, it's somewhere like Vancouver. It's like, the pinnacle of Western civilization, really. I mean, if you look at its heyday, probably back in the 80s or whatever, it's like the pinnacle of the culmination of everything that our civilization's built, into like this magnificent city on the coast, with the sky rises and the modern everything, like how Vancouver and Seattle are. And it's like, now the people are sleeping under bridges and stuff, or what,
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of the people, a lot of the locals, there was an article I read by Douglas Todd from 2014 to 2015, he was breaking down how many whites and Aboriginals were leaving the city of Vancouver, and it was in the tens of thousands per year. And up until 2018, it looked like it was anywhere from 46,000 people and moving per year out of Vancouver into the inter areas where I live, like into the interior. And that's what's happened. People have moved inside, and they're raising the prices of these areas here, just like people from California moving to your state. But unlike in Canada, we don't have many places to move to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In Texas, they have more, and I've said this before, Texas has more major cities than all of Canada, Australia, and New Zealand put together.
Huh.
Yeah, just Texas alone.
And then even Texas is, kind of appealing to somebody like me because it's like, I see where Arizona's going, but also it's like, is Texas safe for me? That's what I have to debate. It's like, if I knew for sure that Texas or Idaho, well, I would think Idaho too, but even Idaho, it's like there's no housing even available right now because all the Californians have bought all that up.
Yes, they
There's
did.
only so much,
And a lot of Californians are getting their cars spray painted.
Because they don't want to be identified as Californians, or what?
No, people are on the street are doing that to them when they see the tags on their car.
Well, and see, the sad thing is too, it's like a lot of the people from California are not. Most people there are normal, average, everyday people, good people. They were hardworking, and some of them are leaving, and they're not wanting to go cause any harm to other people. But and then it's like you get the ones. Well, I would say, I don't know, probably the majority, quite frankly, maybe, because it's the smart Californians that are leaving, right? The dumb ones are still stuck there working, doing whatever, tech central, trying to sweep the floors and stuff for peanuts or in some cases these people make, well, in San Francisco, these people make, $150,000 a year and they're living on the boats, they're living on the dock.
Yeah, they can't afford to live. They can't afford an actual piece of property.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Why would you put all that work in for, I mean, isn't kind of the whole goal of doing the 9-to-5 thing? You can get a family and just do it. Because the way I'm looking at it is like, I got my wife, and it's like we're trying to come up with a plan so that we can have a child here in the future. But it's like with the housing, it's like, how are we gonna do that without the dual income? So I'm like, well, we're gonna have to, of course, go somewhere where I can work so that she can, do the thing for the first few years or whatever, and so we're just trying to kind of get to a position where we can do that. It's like,
yeah, no, I hear you.
Because I couldn't afford to live where I live on my own wages. So
yeah, it's getting scary, eh?
And I'm kind of an educated person. I mean, I'm not like in the trades anyway. And I've been to trade school. I've got trade experience. I'm good at what I do. I'm pretty marketable. Well, like any average Joe back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, that would have been doing just fine. Would have been going on vacation and taking motorhome trips around the country and doing the fishing trips every weekend and all that. And
that was lost a decade ago.
Yeah, that's lost now. So it's like that's not available.
I know, like taking river, doing cool stuff like riverboat gambling trips and making our own beef jerky and stuff like that. That used to be cool,
Right. Yeah, it's like this. That's kind of like it's what it is too, and it's like something I noticed. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Mexico before, and I love Mexico. I'm not knocking Mexico. It's just obviously their standard of living is way lower, right? But if you look at the American standard of living compared to what it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, it's gone down drastically since then.
It has. Infrastructurally, America has gone down huge. In the private sector, though,
huge, and people don't see it, and they don't see what the policies are that's causing it to happen, because they think completely the other way. They think it's all good, They think it's a good thing that we're moving towards that direction, but they don't see what the actual consequences, because they were born and raised into this. Now people my age, they're born into not understanding what it is, what this civilization used to have.
Right.
And but it's like the way I see it is like with the way they spend money, the way that everything's like, corrupt now, everything's Banana Republic, everything's, like you say, Mickey Mouse. And it's like we're gonna have Mexico standard living conditions before long. I mean, and that's just the consequence of this. Like, the reason why we're not even there yet is because everything's everything's doped up. Everything's doped up on drugs with the economy, with the housing, with everything. It's all
the economy is on life support with QE Infinity, and the methadone injections going into the economy, falsely rallying markets. It's crazy.
It's insane. It's like how, and if we just keep doing that, which people don't understand how exponentially huge it is either. I mean, it's not just like, oh, they're easing in this type of stuff. They spent more on this stimulus package for the coronavirus relief than they did on the whole Iraq and Afghanistan war combined.
I know, it's scary.
People were upset about that spending. Now that it doesn't even come up in the debates. It's not.
Nope. And homelessness and fentanyl crisis and money laundering. None of that stuff comes up in the debates. It's always about pipeline, global warming, and all that Mickey Mouse jazz.
It's the issues that they want you to think about, not the issues that are actually occurring
and affecting the common man. Yeah. Morgan, I'm going to let you go. It's been 30 minutes, man. I want to wrap up the show.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, buddy. We've been talking for ages.
All right, Mike. Well,
we'll have you on again. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Throw that. No, I know you will. But yeah, if you want to throw that little clip up there that I sent you.
I will. I'm going to go through it tomorrow when I'm at the shop. Okay.
All right, Mike. Have a good night.
God bless you, Morgan.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
So that is Morgan from Arizona telling us, he has a decent income, 2 incomes, wants to have a kid. It's tough. It's just tough on one income to live the American dream, and that's in Arizona, right? But anyways, guys, let's do one last channel plug, guys. I appreciate everybody coming on the show, and I'm really sorry about Steve Saretsky not showing up. He canceled last night. He gave me enough time to switch the show around. Let's go to Article Scan. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I think I'm approaching 12,900 subscribers. I lose more subscribers than I actually gain on this channel, which is really bizarre. And here it is, guys. Mike in the Night. It's going to be, don't forget, Mike in the Night this Saturday with Stephen Van Meter, the Bond King. Oh my God, the Bond King's coming on the show on Mike in the Night to give us an outlook or a technical outlook on where things are going to head. We're going to ask him which way the election goes, where are things going to head, where the market's headed, where are things going to happen, what to look for in bonds and the bond market, and where things. I have his questions here. What's been dragging down? What's been keeping things up? I got a few questions prepared for him, and hopefully he is game for Saturday night. And the next Wednesday on Trends in the Housing Market, we're going to have the legendary Randy Patrick on the show. Don't forget to check it out. Randy Patrick from Florida will be on the show, a former Canadian living in Florida who visits Canada occasionally and is seeing the digression of Canada in the last 20 years. So that is Randy. So let me give you the Mike in the Night link here for Mike in the Night with Stephen Van Meter, the Bond King. We'll have him on. And then don't forget to check out, again, Trends in the Housing Market with Randy Patrick. And don't forget to buy my new Teespring shirt, Mike Martin's All Over. Look at that, guys. This is really nice. And this is an all-over shirt of me. This is for diehard fans that like Mike in the Night and the Ravens down there. Look at that, the Ravens' first appearance all down there. There it is right there, guys. If you want to buy the all-over, that's a nice shirt to wear underneath a leather jacket. When that comes in, I'm wearing that on Mike in the Night, I swear to you. And I'm making a dirt bike shirt for you guys, too. A really cool dirt bike shirt. I'm putting it together as we speak. And also, people are messaging me. Woo! YouTube banned me again. So, unfortunately, somebody says they're blocked from my YouTube. There's only like trolls. Yeah. Okay, guys. So there's my Facebook. So Facebook and YouTube started at the same time. My Facebook fan page, and I have 115,000 people that follow me on Facebook, but that's never been taken apart or has been stripped down. But my YouTube is just nowhere going. Going nowhere. There's my Facebook. Let's get my Facebook. I'm gonna be at 120 soon. I'm at 115. It looks like the way the page is growing, I should be at about 120,000 by February or March of next year. And let's go ahead and like that page just to piss, so I can keep showing you guys. YouTube and Facebook started in the same week. And I started this not like a couple of months back. Here's my Instagram, guys. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. And then please send me show tips here. I do reply to Instagram a little bit more. If you guys want to go ahead and message me on Instagram, I really appreciate that, taking the time for that. Okay. Yeah, somebody's saying that's a good number of subs for Facebook. Yeah, 120,000 with the amount of content I put up on my channel. I have 4,000. I used to have 4,500 videos. They've knocked back a few videos. They keep doing that every day. So I've reached 5 million views like 9 times on my channel. And for some, they crawl it back a couple. And then I've had an expert look at the back end of my channel. He spent half a day on it. And he told me, Mike, he's like, I can't believe it. They keep removing like almost like 2 million views every couple of, every year or every year and a half. They keep removing a couple of million of views. We don't know why. And they've also, it looks like on your trend, if you want to look at views, not views, like if you want to look at subscribers, like look at my subscribers here. Boom. They shut it right off. And I don't know why. Every other channel has a normal subscription thing. It's really weird. It's so weird. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But you know what? Whatever. Who cares? You guys know you're here. You're part of the family. It doesn't really matter anymore. What matters, numbers don't matter in the end. What matters is that we know we're here for each other and we could talk each other through this. This is a very interesting time to be alive. And now with elections a couple of weeks away, we have a lot of Americans now coming on the show. I'm working on 2 big YouTubers that actually replied to me. I've been sending out requests and saying, hey, guy, you know, I got a small channel. I'd love to have you on and ask some questions, right? And I've been getting replies from huge YouTube channels that have huge influence in this world. And they're like, yeah, Mike, I know you. I know you, Mike. I've seen you for years on YouTube. Like, I know who you are. I'm like, wow, you actually know me? Yeah. Someone's saying, Mike, if you want high numbers, you need to do a makeup tutorial. Flash Travel saying, keep what you're doing, Mike. You have one of the best channels on YouTube. Even Ben Savage commented last week while I was tuning out of Mike in the Night. He says, Mike, you're getting no recognition. I was watching a video from you from 2015, and you were talking about affordable housing and this and this and that. And you were calling it way before, like 5 years before anybody else. And yeah. Anyways, that's South Beach behind me, Deco Drive. I used to hang out there a lot when I used to live in Florida. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. It's been 2 hours now. I'm tired. Guys, Mike in the Night this Saturday. Please tune in. Don't forget. I want to have a good attendance, so when we get Steven on, Van Meter, when we get him on Saturday, it'll be really nice to see that there's a lot of people here supporting it and coming out to watch our... I want you guys to prepare questions for him. So when he comes on, I want questions prepared. So think of what you want to ask him in the comments, okay? And I have maybe 11 questions I want to ask him, and then we go from there, right? Anyways, guys, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Remember, guys, let me go full screen here. Take care of yourselves, guys, and if you can't take care, please stay safe. And